If you're an agency owner, the best thing that you can do is go meet other high-level agency owners in complementary departments. So like if you're a sales agency, go meet other high-level marketers, go meet other high-level operators, because the way to get into the companies that you actually want to get into is not through a paid ad.
What's up, everybody? Joined here today by Dylan Vergara here on the High Ticket Podcast. Dylan is my best friend ever. We actually have matching friendship bracelets, so if you could show yours to the camera. Thank you. But yeah, Dylan, we're joined here by Dylan. Dylan has a lot of impressive experience in the high ticket sales space as well as the agency space. Has done some pretty cool things like actually exiting out of a agency style business, and on top of that is now doing some really cool stuff in the sales space. So Dylan, I'll give you a second here to go ahead and intro yourself before we just start yapping. And this is also my boy Silly Dilly. So Silly Dilly, let's take it away.
Let's go. Happy to be on the Low Ticket Podcast today. High Ticket Podcast. For you guys watching, it's the High Ticket Podcast. But yeah, I'm Dylan. Met Noah a year and a half ago, maybe, after moving to Austin. Been in the online space for a little bit, specifically in the sales space. So helping people get sales jobs, helping people build sales teams, now building Because of Sales, which is a sales-focused newsletter media company. So that's me.
Yeah, if you actually need sales reps too, Dylan is the go-to guy for sales reps in the high ticket space or appointment setters. I would say more specializes in low ticket funnels. So if you're looking for low ticket closers or setters, he's the guy to go to. But yeah, kidding, high ticket. But yeah, so Dylan, we're joined here or on today's episode. What I want to really do is just dive into like just really about your experience in high ticket, how you got into the high ticket sales space, and like I know you transitioned from door to door, doing roofing and stuff like that. So what was that transition like from going from like door to door? What kind of got you in a high ticket? What attracted you to it? How did you get educated on high ticket, and how did your career start through that?
Well, I was naturally not a salesperson. Like I was very introverted to myself, independent. And I just wanted to straight up make more money without sacrificing some things that I had to sacrifice with roofing, which was like location dependence. I had to be in San Antonio, where I'm from. Also, just like the nature of roofing, I had to drive to people's houses across this huge city. I could only sell to like 3 or 4 people per day. And as I was doing research into all the different sales vehicles out there, because I was looking at tech sales, I was looking at real estate, high ticket, and high ticket seemed to give me the freedom and flexibility that was important to me while keeping the earning potential that I was looking for. That's how. So I ended up on Money Twitter in 2017. I know you're kind of newer to Twitter, but OGs know Money Twitter. And I just saw these kids that were, in my opinion, less qualified to make a lot of money in sales, because I had this track record in roofing. I was like, these kids are freaking crushing it, and they're doing it from home on Zoom calls. Like, what do they know that I don't? And I kind of got obsessed with it, went into the high ticket space, and then just didn't look back. Like I started as just a high ticket closer, and just grew from there.
What was the first thing you were selling in high ticket?
A YouTube coaching program.
Okay. What year was this?
22.
22. Okay. Yeah. I guess what was like the big differences that you noticed for those people who might be watching? We'll go into some like business owner agency stuff here in a bit, but for those people who are starting in high ticket, what were some of the biggest differences that you noticed, like in terms of like I guess the pros and cons of doing high ticket versus what you were doing with door knocking?
I think there's a lot more. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Of course.
There's a lot more bullshit out there now. There's a lot of people that are like just capping, man, and selling for those people is not fun. So I think, I don't know, there was definitely people like that before, but maybe I just see it now because I talk to these business owners that want to hire sales reps, and I see the good, the bad, and the ugly. But for me, it was easier to find a quality opportunity back then, and there was also less people in it, which, you know, made it a little bit easier to get into. But even like looking back 2 years, 3 years prior, like 2020, 2019, because I know people that have been doing it since then, it was way easier. Like it's drastically harder now versus compared to 2022 than it was in 2022 compared to like 2020, from what I understand. I don't know if yeah.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, like when because I started like the high ticket space probably like around like 2019-ish or so, like around 2019, 2020. I was doing like door-to-door stuff before then as well too. But yeah, even around that time, it was a blue ocean. Like you could everybody who came on any sales call who had a pulse and a credit card and had any interest in what they were doing, especially nowadays too with like the economy and stuff like that too. People are usually less receptive to high ticket, and like you said, it's way more competitive. But I mean, because you help people get placed all the time into these like really good high ticket offers. For again, like I mentioned earlier, we hire pretty much all of Dylan's reps for our offers, our clients' offers, and stuff like that too. So you're pretty much our go-to for referrals on that. So what would you say is like the big thing that like in terms of like standing out now in high ticket? Because like everyone, you know, they'll invest in, I don't need to drop names here, but all like the top coaching programs or high ticket sales coaching offers and stuff like that to break into high ticket sales. What would you say is like the number one thing that you need to do as a high ticket sales rep to not only stand out, but actually find and land those positions, especially where they are so competitive and they go quickly?
Well, not to like sell a community or anything, but like just being connected to other people who have access to those roles that can intro you or share open roles before thousands of other people see them. Like being fast is quite literally the biggest needle mover, because if you look at it from the perspective of a funnel, I've like drawn this out, and timing is the very first thing in the funnel. And if you don't have the timing down, you're cooked. Like, because if you're last, it's probably likely they're already speaking to one person or some people that they like. So getting connected around the right people so you can get access to these opportunities before most people see them. And then also the bar, because of all the noise in this space now, I feel like the bar has been set really low. It's been sold as a opportunity to make a lot of money doing a little bit of work. And so if you can just show up and have a better work ethic than most people, or just be a professional, which most of these kids aren't being, you'll have a pretty good shot. Like it's not rocket science. It's getting a sales job. It's, in my opinion, the easiest like online business, because there's no startup capital, no other skills needed besides just selling. You sell yourself on the interview, and then you sell once you're in the job. There's no fulfillment. There's no client communication. Like, it's a sales job. It's pretty black and white.
And yeah, to even attest to that too, I mean, a lot of our closers are literally just passed off owners as well too. They're just like doing the fulfillment, the low margins and everything, just to take home what, like 20-30%. I mean, that's at scale if you have fulfillment costs and everything, but after ad spend and everything, a good business owner brings home 20-30% with all the headaches. And then for you, on your perspective, or as a closer, it's just like 10%, zero headaches. People are coming on your calendar. And yeah, in terms of the speed, I mean, you're totally right there. Even when we hire people from your community, it's like we're usually done hiring within 72 hours. Like the second we go, okay, we need a new closer, a new setter, we post, we get like 10, 15, 20 applicants that just come right in.
Yeah.
And then from there, like immediately we just like, we interview like 4, 5, 6 people within like 24 hours. And we usually have our decision within 48 to 72 hours.
Exactly.
So, yeah. It's like being first.
And nobody else is like, if you're in the community, you see these roles. If you're not in the community, you will never, I mean, unless you share at other places, which I'm sure you do sometimes, but like, that's a perfect example of, if you are not in the right places, you are just not even going to know these things exist.
Yeah.
That's why, whether it's a paid or a free community, just like getting around where these jobs are shared is the most important thing.
For sure. I mean, even at, shout out Jonathan too, Jonathan Gilardi, Sales Igniters, one of my business partners, similar model too. Like we help place like corporate sales reps into like high ticket roles. Same thing though. It's like people will come in and they'll be like, oh, am I just like paying for a job? I'm like, no, you're paying to access to all the jobs that are actually going on in this industry, because they're gone like this. Like the second they're posted, they're usually filled within 72 hours. So, and with that said too, so you said like to show up as that high performer and to show up as a professional, what are some of the easy things people can do to go above and beyond to just immediately stand out in some of these roles?
Act like a business owner, even if you're not. Like a lot of, especially the lower level or younger people, like people who are newer in their career, they work, and then they hit a problem and they stop. And they don't do what is required to solve the problem so they can keep working. They just like sit and wait for someone to come ask if they're okay. Like you have to take initiative within your role, like it is a business in itself. And I think, shout out Griffin. He hasn't been on here yet, has he?
No, he's never going to be on here. But
well, so like Griffin hired a closer from the community way back in the day, who he's been with him for maybe over a year now. Gary is the name. Yeah. Gary, yeah. Shout out Gary. And dude, I mean, he's like a business owner as a sales rep. Like he takes all the initiative and he does well. But like a guy like that is so valuable to have, because when you hire into this department that is crucial to driving revenue, you don't want to have to be micromanaging, especially as a small business. Like you want to get some peace of mind that the right person's in there, and if problems pop up, they will be solved, or I will know about them promptly so that way they can be solved. And most people just don't have that, man. They're just expecting things to like work themselves out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, it's like in sales, you're pretty much a hunter, right? I always say, I tell our sales team at the end of the day, like, you eat what you kill, right? If you don't close a sale, like, you can't go to the business owner and be like, oh, the deal didn't close, and complain to them and be like, oh, I want a base, or I want to be paid more or higher. It's like, no, like, that's like going out and hunting as a caveman and then just like missing the hunter, not killing the mammoth, then come back and complaining inside the cave and be like, somebody feed me. It's like, no, you got to go out and actually get it. So like taking that perspective as a sales rep, I think is really important, because that's like, as a business owner, I mean, we inherently take all the risk in terms of like, if sales are not closing the business, we don't get paid, we don't get to eat as well too. So so with that said, I mean, from the business owner perspective, how can a business owner identify those like top A player talent like right off the bat? Because a lot of times when you're sifting through a bunch of funnels, through a bunch of applicants through your hiring funnel, it's hard to actually identify even just like a quick 60-second Loom video. Sometimes you can, depending on how good the Loom video is, but how quickly, or what are some of the things that you do to quickly identify who those top A players are in like a short period of time?
I mean, I like to look back at their past experience, even if it's not sales experience, and just see like what they've done and how well they've done it. So I love to hire like former military guys. I love to hire former athletes, things that require like, you know, all those good personal development traits in order to succeed at long term. I personally like to hire people into positions. This might be a hot take. Some people say hire people. Okay, I'm talking about generally entry-level setter closer roles, not like anything huge here, but I like to hire people into a role where I know that they know that they're potentially unqualified. Like not saying they're completely out of the ballpark, shouldn't be considered, but they know that this opportunity is a good one for them. And so finding someone who understands that, and like you can tell they understand that, which usually maybe they're coming from another industry, and then making sure that you're getting someone who's in like the right stage of life. Because if they're coming from making $25,000 per month all last year, and then you have a role that's $10K per month, like that person's just going to be bummed the whole time. Like $10K a month to someone else is a dream opportunity. To this person, it's I need to pay my rent, and they're probably not long-term focused. So when identifying those people, it's like, dude, good attitude, good work ethic. Look at their past. I don't care if it's sales experience or not. Like how seriously did they take it, and then availability, timing, all those things are important.
What are some industries that you've seen a lot of people in the past? Because like, for example, we've actually, one of our top closers on one of our offers literally just went from working as a server straight into high ticket, or did setting for a little bit, but then we put him right into high ticket sales and he's closing at like 40%.
Yeah.
Like, what are some other like industries that you typically see that have good previous experience that's at least relevant enough to sales, where it's not like, somebody is just, I don't know, like painting walls, and then they never had to interact with the clients or the customers, and now they're just trying to get in. Like, is there certain like characteristics of previous work experience that you find that are pretty relevant to these people?
Yeah, I mean, you named a really good one, because those people in the service industry, they're doing a lot for a little bit, and those are some of the people that would jump at an opportunity to be like an inbound closer. The issue with like, let's say solar, pest control, home security, like the high paid door-to-door guys, is like they can make so much money that they kind of become, I don't know if desensitized is the right word to it, but like a 10K, 20K per month opportunity might not be big enough to incentivize them. Yeah. And then they also make so much money in like 5 months out of the year. So service industry is really good. Home services, some of those guys are good, like roofing, home exteriors, the blue collar stuff, because they just want to be remote, which is like someone who's not remote, turning them remote is a really big motivator.
So if you're going to do door to door, obviously it's not a blanket statement, but not people who typically just go door to door, but people who actually are in a blue collar, like you have to get up on the roof. You have to actually do an estimate, get on ladders, like people who actually have some labor tied into the door-to-door side of it. Like
the person like myself who, I was making great money in roofing sales, but I was totally cool with making a little bit less money, but not getting on roofs in 100-degree weather, risking my life, literally, So those people that were like, it's still a step up. They have some of the foundational stuff, but they really want the remote aspect, or they really want to make more. Like there has to be motivation behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, even thinking back to when I was doing door-to-door painting stuff too. I remember at one point, I kind of violated some OSHA stuff here, but yeah, I may have been painting like a fascia board on top of like a 80-foot tall roof of like this mansion in a town I'm not going to disclose. But I was literally leaning over the side of the roof like this and just had my hands started sliding down, and like, yeah, I was just like, yeah, give me the fuck out. Oh, that's right, this is my podcast. I'm not allowed to swear in his content, but I can say fuck if I want to. Yeah, I'm not bleeping it, Dylan. You can bleep it later.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'll just have to explain to my grandma why dropping F-bombs on here.
All right, yo, this one podcast, Zach, will you make sure the F-bombs get bleeped for
no, I'm just kidding.
Grandma?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That's take a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's a part-time job right there, bleeping my F-bombs. Yeah. So with so for you, what was like the ascension from actually becoming, because like one thing that a lot of people try to do is they're in high ticket sales for a bit and they go, okay, well, what's my natural ascension? It's either A, become a manager, or B, I'm just going to start my own high ticket offer, usually around sales coaching or something that they're kind of passionate about as a side hustle. But what are some of the things that I guess you would warn as like a cautionary tale for the people who are just high ticket closing and have like a really good situation, but then are just like doing something else because they feel like they have to in order to ascend? And some people obviously, that is their next step, but like, what are some things that you would tell to those people who are maybe they're closing, they're making really good money, they're making 10, 20, 30, 40K a month as a high ticket closer, and are now like, maybe I should start my own business, or maybe, I should, just go into sales management because I feel like that's my natural ascension. What would you tell those people?
I mean, that's what I did. So I'm not saying it's wrong. That's what a lot of people have done. They've had success with it, but you kind of have to identify what's important to you, because, a role where you make 10, 20, 30K per month, 100% margin, basically, unless you're working just insane hours, like that is a really good opportunity that if you can do it for a year, 2 years, 3 years straight, your life is going to look completely different. So, I don't know, like the people that are heavily driven to go and do the next thing, they're just kind of wired differently. I would say don't just do that because you think it's what's next. If you want to really do that and you're willing to go through the ups and downs, then you should do it. But yeah, man, I mean, to make 10, 20K per month and just clock in, clock out at the end of the day, that's pretty, it's a pretty sweet gig. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying, sales management's for everyone, but
What would you say makes a really good, for those people who are like, okay, I want to, like, I've been closing now for a while, making really good money, I'm ready for that next step. Like, what would you say actually makes a really good sales manager? And we can both jam out on the second part, which is like, what actually makes a good business owner and a good offer owner comparatively to like being like a high ticket sales rep?
That's a good question. So good sales manager. Well, I mean, the best closer and the best sales manager aren't always the same person. I think we should establish that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I think you have to be motivated by different things. If money is your main motivation, you probably shouldn't be a sales manager. Like, you should be the top sales rep, or one of the top sales reps. But someone who gets fulfillment out of helping people see the best versions of themselves, that's usually someone who's cut out for sales management. Someone who's pretty like organized, analytical, can track data, kind of like a Swiss Army knife when it comes to just kind of like running an operation. But it takes it's a totally different gig, because with like closing, for example, exactly when your calls are going to be, exactly who you need to follow up with and when you should do that, or you should know that. But with management, I mean, depends how dialed in it is and how much support you have, but it's kind of like a firefighting game in some cases. I don't know if it should be like that, but it's just totally different.
Yeah, I think establishing that too, because most people think that, well, I'm good at sales, what's my ascension? Sales management. Most of the time, sales managers aren't making as much. However, the upside is actually a lot better if you're good at empowering your team. Like your goal as a sales rep is to close as much deals as possible, obviously ethically and aligned as well too. But your goal as a sales manager is to empower your team. So one of the big things that we always talk about is there's a difference between hitting a KPI and owning a KPI. a sales rep needs to hit a KPI, which is X amount of deals, certain close rate percentage. When you're a sales manager, your goal is to ensure that your team is hitting that. It's not about you anymore, you hitting that specific goal. You have to learn how can you actually empower your team to hit those KPIs. So yeah, that's another thing we've noticed as well too. And for those people who are like, okay, maybe I want to launch my own offer, what are some of the, I don't want to say like, again, cautionary tales, but like what are some of the things that like they should be expecting to go through, especially in the first few months of actually launching up an offer?
You're going to have to spend a lot of your own money, probably. You're going to have to get used to spending more than you're probably used to and making less than you're probably used to. So just know, like anything that I do now, dude, I know that, I go into it with the anticipation that this might take longer, or it's probably going to take longer than I think. It's probably going to cost more. I'm probably going to make less. So yeah, just be prepared. If you really want it, be prepared to push through when it's hard, because it's not going to be easy from the beginning, Yeah.
Yeah. Even when we started our agency too, I remember the first few months we were just like, oh, we have everything lined up. We have great clients. We have this, we have this. Like when we were just doing like a retainer base, sure, we were, doing really well, but when we switched to just like fully done for you marketing and sales, like the first few months, like there was months where we literally like gave what would have been our payout back to our client, and we were just like double down on ads this month because we need to see like a bigger uptick in spend. Or we're like, hey, we'll actually front our own money, put our money where our mouth is. But yeah, in the first like month or two, we were literally paying ourselves out of our reserves. Like we weren't even like just printing right off the bat. Like that was a big lesson I learned, is like no matter how much you think you've planned for it, there's a quote, religious or not, it's you plan and God laughs. And I feel like that's just like the true tell story of actually being an entrepreneur and starting up a business is, you can plan all day. You can be like, oh, everything is in place. The projections look good. And the second you start, like the randomest thing can happen and it just completely throws off the trajectory of what you're building. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like with this business I'm starting now, because of the way that I want to build it, I know that it's going to probably be a little bit longer to cash flow. Like I could do things to make it cash flow sooner, but then I feel like I'm taking away from like the long-term equity enterprise value, like the big picture. So I'm trying to like prolong that to build it the right way, but it depends what type of business too. Cause dude, if you're selling like what we were doing, which is like done for you, marketing, sales, that kind of thing, like that's a very, you can cash flow really nicely with it, but there's expenses and you got to get integrated with clients and it takes some time. So, between that and then starting like a coaching business, like, dude, I can go make a Facebook or Meta ads manager account right now, put my credit card in there. Let's say I have $1,000 secured credit card. Like I can probably make more than $1,000 just by running ads to a coaching offer for like, dude, if I went outside with my iPhone, filmed a video of me doing a tray flip in the parking lot. It's like, here's high ticket skateboarding offer. Like you want to learn how to do a kick flip in 90 days, like click the button below. And it's like a $300 or $250 6-week course. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, like that you can cash flow way sooner than like an agency. And then the one that I'm doing is like media business. It's different. So you got to have like the right expectations based on the business model and what you know about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the big part to even add to that too, though, is like initial offer validation. Like there's a few ways to obviously validate your offer. You could do what you mentioned, which is this, if you have the cash flow, and again, as a high ticket closer, the more you close and the longer you close for, the more cash you have to kind of expedite this validation process. But there also is like, you can launch that and everyone's like, buddy, I can go learn how to kickflip in 10 minutes with a YouTube video. I don't need to spend $500 in 90 days. Why should I pay for that? Right. So there's also the part of actually validating the offer organically and trying to close some people. When you first started your coaching business, did you run ads right away or did you?
No, I didn't run ads for like over a year. It was just organic Twitter.
Organic Twitter.
Every single day, screenshot of a win, whether it was hired, commission, whatever. And next tweet, link to join or landing page. And it was low ticket. So in the first year, it was low ticket, year and a half.
I mean, dude, I've always been super impressed by your low ticket ability, so it doesn't surprise me that you ripped a low ticket for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's an honor to be on the low ticket podcast here.
And I figured I'd introduce you to the space of it, but yeah, man, no, that's awesome. But yeah, so, and from there, what brought you to Austin? You were in San Antonio. Like what was it, Money Twitter that brought you here? What actually what made that move? And because I mean, one thing that we always talk about is like proximity is key, right? Like being around people in person, like being able to go to the dinners and networking, et cetera. Like what brought you to Austin, and how did that propel? Like, and this could be for anyone, business owner, high ticket sales rep. Like personally moving to Miami in the fall because I think there's other people aligned there and more opportunity over there as well too for the business. So it's like, you know, what sparked that move, and like how has that changed your trajectory of your business and the people who actually moved to Austin from your community too?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just wanted to make myself uncomfortable because like every other time that I've done that before, like getting my first sales job when I never thought I would be a salesperson, I saw myself like exponentially get to the next level, like faster, better, make more money. That, and then I knew Austin was definitely like a hub for this kind of stuff, which made it a no-brainer. Those were the two main things. I actually almost moved to Tampa. I had a flight booked to go tour apartments, and then that flight got canceled by a hurricane. In that time, I came to Austin, and I was like, this isn't too bad, and it's way closer to home.
Yeah.
Like my family's in San Antonio, so those were the main things.
Yeah. And one thing too that I've always admired, like in terms of just like characteristics about yourself too, is you tend to not overcomplicate things, especially when scaling the business, especially when making hires, especially when like just in how you operate, you tend to just not overcomplicate. So like, how would you say that you've been able to like as people say, like simple scales, fancy fails. Like, how have you been able to? Do you feel like it's part of your personality? Is there certain things that you remind yourself as you're making decisions inside of your business, or like, you know, whether it's in business or in life in general, to like, I guess, keep yourself like pretty level-headed, grounded, calm, and like still making big leaps inside of your business?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I've one thing that I've noticed that I'm pretty good at is like understanding perspective, which is kind of a weird thing to think about, but I hang out with a lot of different people. Like I hang out with really successful people. I hang out with people that are, you know, high ticket closers, do well, or some that, you know, setters, or people that are just like hometown friends. Like I hang out with a lot of people, hometown friends.
Yeah.
And I just see like all the things that I like of the people that have what I want, and the stuff that I don't like. And I'm trying to be really particular about acting on the stuff that I should do, not acting on the stuff that I shouldn't. What it really probably comes down to is I consume a lot of content. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I find people that I like, and I'm like constantly studying and like trying to be a student, especially right now with a new business, but working hard, like literally straight up just working more than the average person, and then studying and staying a student to have the perspective. So that way, when I am working, I know what to work on. I know how I should work on it. I know what, you know, priorities should be where, and just that. I mean, also I haven't really done anything like, you know, VC backed software startup that's like anything super complex. Everything that I've known has been like an extension, or everything that I've done has been an extension of what I've known, which started at sales. And so I've kind of been like stair stepping up, which, you know, if you were to jump straight from, I don't know, bartender to done for you sales, marketing and sales agency owner, nobody would want to work. I mean, not saying nobody would want to work with you, but like, it's going to be way harder.
Probably really want to work with
yeah.
you.
Yeah. And then also like, dude, a superpower is like building a personal brand. You've done it. I've done it. A lot of our friends have done it. Like by building a personal brand in a niche, not necessarily around the business, but in a niche, you start to learn like what people want from you. Like you have conversations, and that it kind of like exposes a lot of times the path with not as much friction from a business perspective, because when you have like 10 people come and say, hey dude, like I need a sales rep. I used to charge for sales reps. I don't anymore because it's a whole thing in itself. But if 10 people come to me and they're like, dude, I need a sales rep, do you have one? Like that's a business I could start, you know? So just kind of like flowing like water, man. Like take note of everything, focus in on what I know I want, and then just work hard. Like that's it.
Yeah. So would you say like a big part of like your success up to this point has just been like identifying opportunities based on like just keeping a pulse on what's actually going on around you in the market, and then not trying to overcomplicate or try to take too big of a step at one time, just stacking like whether it's one new offer or one new skill on top of what you're currently developing?
Yeah. I mean, shiny object syndrome is pretty crazy too. I feel like we all get it, but being able to tune that out.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm trying to think like if there's anything else, but nothing at the top of my mind.
Yeah, it's tough because especially, I mean, even ourselves too. I mean, because obviously we're currently running the Done For You marketing sales agency, and through that process, like, you know, there's, especially with the introduction of AI, we're like, oh, there's a million ways we can implement AI, or we can even launch your own AI product. And there's speed and pivoting as well too. There's, you know, and I see people who are like, man, we, you know, weren't able to crack the code, then we just saw a quick opportunity, we jumped on it, and we made a bunch of money, right? But it's also like, you know, I think a lot of people look at those people as if it was, and sometimes there is kind of that unicorn situation that comes along where it's like, it's perfectly in alignment. But those business owners identify, I think that's a very key distinction, is those business owners identify that quick and aggressive pivot will actually lead to like a massive spike of growth inside the business, but it's also sustainable growth. It's not a quick cash grab. And it is, we both know people that, you know, when they see a quick opportunity in the market, they grab it, they ride it for 2-3 months, but they also invest in a bunch of infrastructure because it scales very quickly. And it turns out they didn't really make as much money as they were kind of hoping to, or they get a good cash inflection, but now they don't actually have something sustainable and they have to kind of rebuild something from scratch again.
Yeah. I've never done that from what I understand. Like at least all my successful businesses have been things that I go into under the assumption that I'm going to run them for years, you know? And I think having that like North Star that, hey, this is going to take a lot and I'm okay with that can really help you. And if you don't have that, then it's so easy to just be like, on to the next one, you know?
And especially too, I think the big thing is when things start getting tough. Like, I mean, and we're all guilty of this too. It's like when things get really tough, it's like you might get distracted. Like my go-to distraction is like, you know, investing in like crypto or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's quicker upside, you know, you can do that. But it's like, is that really what I want to build sustainably long-term? And then you have to remind yourself, are you in this just for the quick cash? Are you in this to build something great? Are you in this for the exit, the experience, the credibility?
Yeah.
And just reminding yourself, because it is, I mean, shiny object syndrome, especially in our industry where everything is like, even like when you talk to somebody, it's like direct response marketing, pretty much. Like everybody's not everyone's trying to sell you something, but it's just like there's always somebody pitching something that's new, exciting, and they're really good at sales and marketing. So it's very easy to just fall in that trap of like consistent shiny object syndrome and see people who are in like 17 masterminds or go to events every day because they're like, oh, this is a new big thing or the new big event or whatever it is.
Yeah. No monkey butt coin for me.
No monkey butt, dude.
That's your thing,
like
right?
17 grand off monkey butt last weekend. I was just making 17 grand off monkey butt, dude.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think it might help too if there's some people out there that are like don't have personal brand, and that's cool too. Like run a business, no personal brand associated. That's actually really cool. It sounds badass, but you kind of approach it differently when your first and last name and your face are on the line versus when you're behind the scenes anonymous.
Yeah.
So most of the businesses I've run have been first and last name on the line, one reputation. And so I'm like a decently high integrity person and I don't want to like do wrong by anyone. So that probably plays into it as well. Because then also like, even if you're not doing harm to customers or anything like that, like you become the guy that's known for not sticking to anything and then nobody wants to work with you.
Yeah.
Which is not a good person to be.
No, 100%. And one thing I'm curious about, because like I had a pretty big revelation on this recently, which is, especially if you do go like, I mean, the industry is very much starting to transition towards a lot more, I would say, like rev share focused models, like actual performance basis, because there's so many people out there now who are very high skilled and are willing to go the rev share model. Like, for example, like I know you and me pretty much both relied off of just like full rev share model, maybe setup fees and stuff like that, just to, you know, as insurance in the beginning. But, you know, what has been like, would you say your primary client acquisition source? Because one thing that when you guys scaled very quickly, pretty much it was just floods of referrals that were coming in.
Yeah.
And so, you know, part of it is like, yeah, the high integrity work of just producing really, really good results. But there's also, you know, probably some level of like social engineering to align opportunities, like whether it's being with the clients in person or spending more time with them, like in building a relationship just outside the business, right? So like, what would you say has been like some of the underlying parts of bringing in those big clients? Because I know a bunch of people here are probably like, I'd love to work with those big clients. People are willing to give up a big percentage of rev share, but I just have no idea how to get them. Or we landed one client kind of by chance, and now like, I don't know how to bring in new people.
Yeah.
Like, what are some things that you'd recommend those people do to help bring in those clients?
The very first thing you should do is go meet other high level people, like pay to get in the room, because we grew this agency from 0 to 30 people in less than a year. And we didn't run a single paid ad for ourselves. We didn't do a single cold email. Every single client, the big ones and the small ones, were through referrals or in-person events. And what we did, like if you're an agency owner, the best thing that you can do is go meet other high-level agency owners in complementary departments. So like if you're a sales agency, go meet other high-level marketers, go meet other high-level operators, because like if I think of, I don't know, a time when we had like 7, 8 clients, all of those clients were referred to us by other people. Like the way to get into the companies that you actually want to get into is not through a paid ad. Like it's through someone who's already in there. It's the same when you're like just a salesperson trying to sell like a software into a company. You go like connect with someone in the company. You kind of get in there and you like figure out what the org chart looks like. So that's how all of our clients came. Like we went to some events, like you came to the Austin one, we've gone to some, and that was like the best thing that you could do. You also have to be good too. Like if you're not good, and these people aren't going to want to meet you, but then there's a snowball effect.
The reputation part of it comes into.
Yeah. There's a snowball effect, because then if you do good work with this marketer and you have like 2 shared clients with them, and then they go to a marketing conference and they're like, yeah, we have the best sales team ever. And these people are like, wait, how do you all sell like that? Like connect us. So you have to have the good reputation. You have to know what you're doing, but then go out and like meet high level people.
100%. Yeah. No, funny enough, the revelation I had recently was like, every time we bring, because I did like an analysis of like, what are all the clients we've had? And it was either through working with a client and doing good work, which is probably about like 50%. The other 50% was literally just being in the room and just knowing how to genuinely talk about what you do to position yourself as the expert without the intention of the sale. And like, I went to, for example, a mastermind this past weekend, and we've been grinding. I've been like cold outbounding people and stuff like that too, because anytime we go into like a new, like right now we have capacity, and once we create capacity, it's like, okay, like full acquisition mode. And I realized I was outbounding, DMing people, stuff like that, trying to get in the door, like looking at people's ads of people or of businesses we'd want to work with. And then I got like one kind of half inquiry after sending like 100 outbound DMs, which by the way, too, just to show you the resourcefulness, doesn't matter how big you are as a business owner. Like the reason why business owners typically are more successful is they're just constantly putting in that work. So if you're thinking about starting an offer, you're never too good, or you should never have too much of an ego where you're not willing to actually put in that work. Little side note. But we went into an event room the other day and we literally landed 7 referrals, seven potential clients. 2 of them were referrals, 5 of them were people that we just met at this event. Yeah. And so it's just like being in the room, knowing how to position yourself, talk about yourself. And that's where a big part of it is like reputation in this industry is so important, especially if you're going for like low level offers or like low level clients, or when I'm saying low level, I mean like just low revenue, maybe trying to get their offer off the ground. You can get those people through ads because there's usually enough desperation or things like that there. But to get those like big fish clients, like you have to be in the room and just expect long sales cycles. Like I think our shortest sales cycle was like a week and a half, like for full done for you marketing and sales, but that includes full projections, full audit of the business, like strategizing with them on the offer, like at least 2.5 hours of like actual calls, and like maybe an additional 30 minutes to an hour of in-person meeting. Like, and then we prep for like, we put in like 5-10 hours of work before we even onboard a client or even like pitch the client. And then from there, it's like, okay, there's still a chance it's not going to work out. So I think that's a big part of it too, just realizing if you're going to go for that upper echelon, just realizing like you should expect a long sales cycle. You should expect to invest work, time, money, and energy up front to even get to that place. And I'm curious if you have a different perspective on that, but that's just what we've noticed.
No, it's the same. I mean, we started doing a lot of due diligence. Once we had like a good client base, we started doing a lot of due diligence. And someone asked me the other day, who's running a sales agency, they're like, so when we're selling, on this sales call, should we be doing like 1 call close, 2 call close? I was like, dude, any business that you can 1 call close on done for you sales agency is not one that you want to work with.
Yeah.
Because you think about, there's a lot of different ways to charge for that business, whether it's done for you sales or marketing and sales. But if you don't have certainty, which prompts you to have a startup or a retainer more so than a business you would have certainty with, if they're not big enough, they can't afford that. So then you're just not going to work with them because you don't want to take the risk with them, and they can't afford what would be worth you taking the risk. Yeah. and a business that already has something figured out enough to afford you isn't going to be super quick to get rid of that. You know, like if a business that can afford to pay a 25K startup fee probably isn't going to do that through a paid ad. Like it has to be just like right time, right place. Like when we went to Japan, you know, I got to know a lot of people in there, like we both did. And just simply by someone being at that event, like I don't know how much money you ended up spending, but I think just to get there and to do snowboarding a couple of days, like aside from all the food and everything, I mean, I spent like $5,000 or way more than five, like yeah, 5, 6, 7 grand.
Like you only spent $5,000.
And we were there for like, I was there for 8 days and that was for 4, like I don't know. It was a lot of money, but like
a lot of fucking money,
just knowing that everyone else there, if they didn't spend that, they spent close to it probably. And it was an invite only trip. So like reputation matters. Like just by being in that room, it was really beneficial. And that's why like the in-person stuff, if you can go, always go.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah. And the thing is too, I mean, especially before you have, cause like now if I need to get in a room, I don't have to pay, like I don't need to pay like a mastermind to meet with somebody maybe who I want to connect with or be in the room with high level people because I built the relationships with them. But even now, I mean, like literally the other day I was in a paid mastermind room. I think we both paid a lot more than $5,000 to go to that. I think we underestimated how much it was going to cost to fly halfway around the world and snowboard for a few days. But like we, you know, it's even at this point, like all the top people that I see that do business, it's, you know, and also too, there's a certain established credibility of you being able to be in that room. Even if it's, one thing I would say is like, even if you think that it's a little too expensive to be in that room, but you know that room is full of your ideal clients, that's a risk and a good investment to take as a business owner, because it's like once you're in the room, there's like a established like, oh, like this person's in this room, they must be doing something of some caliber at some level in order to even be in this room in the first place.
Yeah, especially with like a destination trip like that.
Yeah. Or even just like there was an event that was literally a 2-minute walk from my apartment the other day and I didn't even know what was going on. I walked in and it was literally all people in our industry who are industry veterans, industry titans, and they're all like just at this like small local event that was a paid event just to be in that room. And it was like, I think they only do like 1 or 2 small events a year. And it was like a couple $1,000s to be in that room. Right. So like, but even that right there, I mean, I walked out with, you know, again, I could have spent the next 3 months trying to get 7 people by sending 2,000 outbound DMs. And again, like at our caliber, unless I know that there's mutuals or unless like, when I say caliber, I mean just reputation and like network in the industry, unless I see somebody has a bunch of mutuals or I've heard their name before, I'm most likely not going to want to do business with them through DMs. And what I'm going to do is immediately go to their mutuals and hit all those people up and go like, hey, do you know this person? Have you done business with them? Do you know if they're any good? Like, you know.
Yeah, that like if I'm thinking of 2 scenarios where, let's say I run a sales agency and someone wants to run paid ads for us. One scenario, this marketer who I have no idea who they are cold DMs me and they send, maybe it's a good pitch, maybe it's not, whatever. That's one scenario. I'm probably not going to respond because I get a lot of cold DMs. Yeah. The other scenario is they see one person that I might kind of know. Like if it's someone that I really know and that person refers them, they have like 100x the chance at actually having a meaningful conversation. But even if it's just someone that I might kind of know, maybe I had a conversation with them once and it was a good one and they refer that person, I mean, you're looking at like 10x odds versus like a cold DM. So like, that's why, I mean, I haven't been outreaching too much just with the nature of what I'm doing, but just getting connected with other people doing cool shit and just in the background, just always being open to meeting new people like that. Like it comes around for sure.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable too, especially when you're getting new to it. Like even if you run a successful coaching offer right now and like you just done it all remotely, the second you try to take that next level, it's like, I mean, like you said, like, you know, for example, if you're trying to raise funds or raise capital, like in venture capital or private equity, like there's like at least a minimum 1.5 month long due diligence process where that person's just like this company literally for free is just going through your entire business and seeing if that's a business they want to invest in. But there is that massive upside. So like, I guess one thing to just kind of put out is like a lot of people are now trying to transition to that like done for you rev share model, or, you know, just some sort of done for you service where there's like some sort of performance based upside. But if you're to do that, like it's not, you really have to be patient. Like for us to even get an offer off the ground from the day we meet somebody to even having the ads up and going, the sales team developed out and like running takes a minimum of about like 3 to 4 weeks from the day that you meet someone to actually building it out and actually having it running. That doesn't even mean converting yet. That just means having everything up and going from like the day of inception. So it's like you kind of just also be prepared for that too. And like you said, you really have to. I'm curious actually what you would say to this. Like, what would you say to somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience but like wants to try to get into that performance space?
It's the same thing, dude. I would personally like chip away at it, and I would start small and like just if I'm a closer right now, like find one or two things around the closing role that I can do and potentially do for multiple companies at the same time. Because overhauling like an entire marketing and sales department for a company that you actually want to do that for is going to be a lot of work, and there's a lot of like pressure and deadlines. And I would say like work up into that business model. I don't know if how many people want to run done for you marketing and sales, but yeah, I mean, definitely don't just start. I mean, you can try, you can try and fail, but dude, it's hard, man. It's really hard. And doesn't always work out. Like your first clients, our first client, let me think. Our first like real client that we just split like a sales management role with, we didn't have him for too long. The offer kind of shit out, but yeah, we've worked with some other people to do this, and first clients, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So like you have to be willing to do all that with the opportunity or with the possibility that it might not work. And make you money, and then you're just like back to square one.
I mean, there's clients who worked very closely with for 3 months. We're putting like 10 to 15 hours a week into that we literally ended up in the red on. Like it happens. So it's like I think that's the big thing with like I guess a cautionary tale to anyone who's willing to do full done for you. It's like it's not as simple as just starting up just a done for you agency and just like printing off the bat. And some clients you might get lucky with, but just realizing that. It's a big risk, and you could work for a good amount of time and not make any money still. So it's like having the experience. I think there's one thing that I noticed too, especially before I started my first offer, because I was, I've worked with like 1,000 high ticket online coaches, is like you kind of hit a point where you're like, okay, I'm legit. Like I know how to do this. I've done this enough. Like I think a lot of people, they try to start once they have like an epiphany moment. Like there's one closer who I trained, and you're gonna love this story. Literally trained him on like some objection handling stuff. His closer is about like 15% 1 week. Helped him with some objection handling stuff. This is for a client a long time ago. Within 2 weeks, his close ran up to 40%. And then literally a week later, he quit to start his own high ticket coaching offer because he had that kind of epiphany moment where he's like, oh, I just learned this skill. I'm really good at it now. And it's like, I think there's a big part of it too. It's like, wait until you're undeniably an expert in what you're doing. And that means like you have full conviction and confidence no matter what the situation that comes up is, that you can at least figure it out, or that you actually have the proven or you have the proven track record that you actually know what you're talking about. Because especially for a full done for you model, reason why people like when we go to work with them, they're just like, yeah, this is a no brainer. Is one of my business partner exited 2 marketing agencies. The other one has run sales teams for like some of the largest coaching companies in the industry, and they've been doing and he's been a high ticket sales rep for like over a decade. So it's like, and then obviously I worked at a company, worked with over 1,000 high ticket coaching offers. Like when you have that credibility, it's like we can step in the room and go, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. And then through the due diligence process, like especially with rev share, you can't really bullshit your way to the top. Like you almost have to treat it as if like you're like a PE, like a private equity partner, or like you're pretty much going in and partnering with an already existing business that's already doing well. So like as you mentioned, it's not really you're not trying to pitch and sell them. It's like it's more of like an alignment and due diligence like session.
Yeah, dude, it's a very tricky business model. Like, I'm glad that I ran it. I'm glad that I got that experience because it showed me some of the things that I really liked and didn't like about, an agency, a service-based business. But if I knew what I know now and I was looking to start the next thing, I wouldn't start that business again. Again, like I'm glad that I did and I like did well with it, but it's hard, man. It's really hard.
Yeah. And what would keep you from stopping that? Not starting that business? Was it just like is it like if you were to go back in time, would you have done it again, or would you have done something differently?
If I knew everything that I knew right now, I wouldn't do it again because it depends what stage of life I'm in as well. Because when I started it with the idea that, dude, this is going to be like my big thing that, one day, like I can work at it for years and years and years. and it'll be worth a lot of money. And like for me, I was more interested in like chasing that like, or I guess climbing that mountain, right? Yeah. And the more I got into it, I was just seeing like, you know, clients would come and go, and this is kind of a wishy-washy business model in some months, and I just found aspects of it that I didn't really like. Like one thing in particular, when you're running a bunch of sales teams, and sure, you should have management in place and systems and operations, but like salespeople are hard to manage, you know? And
it's so easy for us, bro. I don't know what you're struggling with.
When your name is on the line for all this stuff going on that you just like, there's not enough hours in the day, even if there's managers in place. That made me realize like, dude, what is more valuable to me right now is running a business that I have like more oversight over, more visibility over. Not to say you shouldn't run a sales agency or whatever, but just that was important to me. Like I started this podcast with, like, I've always kind of been independent. I like to do things on my own. I like to run like a lean team, know what's going on. And the bigger and bigger it gets when you have, I mean, some of these sales agencies have 100 people. Like, dude, there's no way that the guy at the top knows what's going on. Yeah. Like, I mean, they could kind of know what the numbers look like, but they don't know what's actually going on. And I saw an opportunity when I did get out. I was like, this business is growing and it's awesome. And the longer I wait, the more, the harder it's going to be to get out, you know?
Yeah.
And so knowing all that, what's important to me, I would start a service-based business, but not done for you.
Yeah. I think the big thing too, especially on the sales side, and again, there's pros and cons of doing it. I mean, like if you do this model and you do it really well, there's massive upside on it. But especially on the sales management side, like you said, it's every sales rep needs like usually some level of mindset training at least once or twice a week. They need constant call audits, depending on their performance, but like auditing calls. And then like, it's not as simple as just like, you just throw a sales rep in and they just start ripping cash and you just start making a bunch of money. It's like, you're now a sales manager across multiple sales teams, and most individual sales teams are usually overwhelmed, let alone when you have 7 sales teams that you're in charge of managing. Marketing is a lot more leveraged. But yeah, the sales component, adding that in, like it definitely, like there's been months where, everything in the business was going really, really well on a client's offer. And then our setters, one quits and one has a bad day, and boom, like all the, the calls for that day are just completely eliminated. Now the sales reps go into a funk, and now you got to lower ad spend to accommodate because, there's not enough volume coming through. So, as listening, we learned, and we've pivoted since, and, we still have setters on the team, but have switched the model on that. But yeah, it's like your business very much, like you said, becomes dependent not just on your inputs. It actually becomes dependent on like everybody else's inputs. You're more just the strategist at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Especially that's why we got into marketing as well, or we started like bringing in subcontractors for marketing, like people who are actually good at it. Because when you don't have control of marketing and you're on a primarily rev share basis and your employees are primarily rev share, 0 times 0 is 0, like, and you're just the one that's responsible. So like if you're not getting leads, like your people are going to leave, you're never going to gain any real momentum. And that's why we started doing the marketing too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing we noticed is like, so we actually started with done for you marketing, but then same thing. It's if we're doing fully done for you marketing and we want to have some sort of upside, you're always dependent on either the internal team or another agency that you might not vibe with, you might not have a good connection with. So yeah, it's, if I was even looking back, like when we were doing done for you marketing, if I was to just every once in a while, we'll bring in like a done for you marketing client or done for you sales client, but it's usually on a lot more, either we do insane due diligence and make sure that like their lead quality is either really good or their sales reps are really good, or we just do retainers. So I would never go back to doing just like a performance basis for like just sales or just marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. We started, they still do. So like I sold my 50% back to my other partner, but yeah, we got really big on startup fees and retainers, because if a business isn't willing to front that for you for this expertise that you're bringing in, like probably not a business you want to work with. Like if they don't believe enough to pay even $5,000 for what you're about to install, like the machine that has generated all this revenue for these businesses similar, red flag.
Yeah. Do you So so even with the full done for you, you would do retainers?
We would do startup fees more often.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing now, but we started doing retainer that was like 5K or 10K or commission or 5K or 10K, like whichever was more, that's what we would take. So they started implementing that. But we weren't doing a lot of that when I was
there. Is that for just done for you sales or marketing and sales?
Both. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, man. Well, Dylan, unless there's something else you want to yap to these unfortunate folks about that they just had to listen to us. Zach, how long have we been going for?
55 minutes. You want to do another 10 minutes if you want?
No, I'm done talking to this guy. It's like,
No, let's talk about something. Let's talk about something different.
what do you want to talk about, Dylan?
I don't know, something funny.
Something funny?
Yeah, let's
talk about V2 Tokyo.
No, not V2 Tokyo.
Yeah. You want to pitch these people what you do, and
Can I pitch for 10 minutes?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's probably something funny we could talk about. We don't have to, but I was just thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could just bust each other's balls. I could do that.
All right, we can cut it. I'm out.
Yeah, see you later.
It's whatever.
Yeah, no, you're a little PC though. I don't want to take you off.
No, dude, this is the low ticket channel, so I'm good to do whatever we got to here.
Low ticket audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dylan, tell us a bit about your experience. You told us that you started low ticket, and so why did you love low ticket so much?
It was just so easy, dude.
Yeah. It's
High margin, low expectation, high margin. On less money though.
No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, if I was a scammer, I'd probably start that model too. So that all makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I charge $9 per month. Like, dude, the business that I still run today that I charge high ticket for, that has done like a 7 figures in revenue, like, I started charging $9 per month.
Yeah.
And like, if for people that are watching, bro, like, if you're not that confident in your ability to get the results, do whatever you can to just build the results for people, whether they pay for it or not, and then use that as marketing. Show people how you get the result. You don't have to be like some high ticket closer that closed $30 million, but
have you done that?
No.
Yeah,
but like, dude, people started working with me. Like, I've never taken the angle of like, yeah, I've closed $100 million. Like, I'm better than all these other people. Don't listen to them. Listen to me. People buy my stuff and like work with me because they see how good I am at helping other people find jobs, which is like a totally different thing than like sales training. So
yeah, I would never pay you for sales training for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
real quick too, is the V on your shoes, that's for Vergara?
No.
You sure?
It should, right?
Yeah. Yeah, V, big V guy.
What about you?
LV, dude. Loser V. I'm the dumb version of you.
Yeah.
The loser version of your fucking V shoes. Are those from V Shred?
V Shred shoes, yeah.
Were you a V Shred client? It doesn't look like, yeah, no.
No, I used to be 300 pounds. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Now I can fit in my large t-shirt.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Is your watch fitting okay? It looks a little tight on you.
Oh, dude. Well, I had to tighten it up after I lost all that weight.
300
so
pounds, yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, but for anyone who doesn't know too, again, Dylan, I appreciate him taking the time here today. I mean, he's literally my best friend ever. Like I said, in Japan, we literally bought friendship bracelets. I was actually getting my bracelet, and Dylan was like, "Yo, what?" And he was like, "Dude, that one looks super masculine. I don't want to try to out masculine you, so we got the more."
This guy just told the story in the most opposite way that he could have ever told it.
Well,
go watch my YouTube video if you want to hear the real story.
Yeah, don't check out his YouTube.
Serial sales link will be below.
Yeah, that's crazy. I get like it.
Yeah, we'll put like all my links. There's like 10 of them. We'll put them all before the description, before Noah's links, or all my links. So if you need a sales job or anything.
Content Factory. By the way, shout out Content Factory. That's where we're at right now in Austin, Texas. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, so we're at link capacity in the description right now. We can't post the high ticket podcast.
Yeah, sorry. Noah's Instagram's not down there, but if you want to buy a Yeti tumbler of serial sales community, it's down there.
Yeah, just because of sales /low ticket.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. You're gonna get back in the low ticket game or
never?
Never?
I might for this new business, but I might run it as like a lead magnet, but not to like make money, just to value exchange to get the whole game for this newsletter thing is like more people. So like I'm going to try to prolong, I'm going to run my other stuff, use that to make money, to prolong this, to build it the right way. But
would you be running the low ticket as like a self-liquidating ad kind of funnel?
Yeah. So that way, yeah, if we can spend $1 to make $2 and build the value in the list while monetizing it, that's the play.
$1 for $2.
That's the thing with these newsletter media companies, businesses, dude. Like once you get that flywheel, game over.
Yeah. What's the game that you're playing?
The same one Bhargav used to play.
Emails.
Yeah, that's what he was. We were talking about that the other day. The self-liquidating.
Yeah.
Funnels.
What got you into emails? Do you like writing emails?
It's all right. I identified that business model as a long-term one that, like, I didn't have to worry about other people, like, incentivized for the wrong reasons to not do good or to do good. I just felt like I had a lot more control, and then there's long-term value. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but, you know, companies like Salesforce, HubSpot, these big like tech-funded companies are buying these newsletters, and if you can build one with a audience of a high-valued audience like sales professionals, it's really valuable to advertisers and all that. So I was like, I know a good amount about sales, and I also know how to play social media. This has a long-term potential. Let's try it out.
What's the I can't wait to look back on this in like 2-3 years, and just when you're actually going for the exit and being like, I was so naive back then, and now I'm working at McDonald's, and I'm the only one writing the that's gonna be the drive. Dude. I don't think you're gonna be exiting as a McDonald's drive-through on your way to a fucking V-Shred sales call. No, that's Dylan and I have a lot of inside jokes. We're a couple classic funny men. But so with the with the actual email side though, I mean, like, who, for those, and you can feel free to plug because of sales. Because of sales I was homeless, because of sales I didn't, but whatever you want to do for it. But yeah, go ahead and feel free to plug it real quick.
Because of sales, the sales job should be what gets you your dream life. It shouldn't be your entire life, but it should help you get your entire life. So we're helping everybody, any kind of salesperson, whether you're on the doors, account executive, sales manager, founder-led sales. Yeah. We want to help you sell more. We want to help you make it easier, create more leverage, so that way sales can be what gets you the life that you actually want.
So if you're a sales rep or a business owner, what are you doing to provide value for each one of those people? It's a hard question.
Not that much, man. Dude. No, I'm just kidding. We're sharing like just relevant industry news, sharing insight into other types of sales for the sales reps who might be looking into pivoting. Every week we're breaking down a story of someone who's done like something cool. So we had John Mal, like the sales trainer guy, on just recently. We're sharing like a lot of cool AI stuff. We're gonna start doing some unique things like recruiting type thing, maybe pushing people towards like, helping them get connected to companies. There's a lot like in store, but right now it's just like the point of the newsletter is to give you a weekly pulse on the state of sales as a profession, and just being aware, dude. Because like I think I put this in the sub headline, but like there's always this guy on the sales team that he seems to not really care as much, or he seems to not really work as much, but he's always top of the leaderboard, and he probably just like knows more than you do, or maybe he's just been doing it longer. But like our goal is to help you come off as like the nonchalant sales guy that just crushes it and has an awesome life and isn't in sales job prison. So
yeah, what is that? Like you kind of just mentioned who that nonchalant sales rep is, but like, I mean, what's the kind of energy that you shouldn't show up with, whether it's interviews or on sales calls as a salesperson?
Neediness.
Yeah.
Neediness. And then
how do you do that when you feel like you might be in a needy position? Like you're like I got bills coming up, I got, like maybe just sales isn't a good alignment point for you at that point, but like how would you show, like, how can you break past that as like a sales rep who's like, I actually am needy right now. I got to pay my bills. I got a lot of pressure. Take care of my family.
That's a good question.
Pay for V-Shred.
I've never been in that position myself, so I can't speak from experience. I've always just been breaded up. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, dude, it's hard. Like that is hard. Like I mean, it depends how severe your situation is. If you're like literally no money, rent coming up, kid on the way,
get the F out of
bro.
sales.
Go push carts at the grocery store. Like get like some security. That's what I would do. Or I mean, like high ticket sales, I probably wouldn't go for high ticket sales. I would go do something else that has like base pay. Even if the earning potential isn't as high, but
that's the thing too. Like you said, it's season of life that you're in. I really genuinely, some people like they hit a golden opportunity when they're like at their lowest and like, they just invested all their money. They went into debt and all of a sudden like, boom, it worked out. But like, I feel like that's not the case. Like just from what I've seen and seen people do that, like 95% of the time, and most people aren't actually built for that. Or it's like, I just put like we have a friend who I'm not gonna name names, but loves just absolutely digging himself into debt and then just fucking blows up and just does some incredible shit. And like he kind of lives in that extreme, but like for most people that is not I would not recommend. And that just also might be me too. Like although I take a lot of risks and with our model it's very risky, I'm also relatively risk adverse. The reason why I even take on a risky model is because I'm so certain in the skills that we've developed that it's like it's a no-brainer and I can make it work. It's not something where I'm like fucking getting a Amex card just so I have a crazy fat spend limit and then just dumping all my money into something and just kind of hoping it works.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if someone's applying to a role with me and they express that they're in that position for a reason that is kind of stupid, then that's like a red flag. Because if you can't even manage your own life and your own finances, why would I want you managing this business's finances? Like
exactly.
Not like
be responsible for the business's finances.
Yeah, but like if you can't keep your own life in order, now if you had like a really unfortunate situation, like that could actually be a positive if you position it in the right way. Because
but even then too, some people will be in that position and they just like, they're like, yeah, man, like this unfortunate thing happened. I need to make money this month. But then they just put, like some people don't perform well under that kind of pressure too.
Oh yeah. I don't know what happens to those people.
You right now, what was that?
No. Yeah, I've been up since 6 a.m. grinding.
You're a big midday nap guy?
No.
But
yeah, dude, I actually don't know what happens to those people. I think they end up homeless. like I don't know, bro. Like figure it out. That's one thing that not everybody has. Like everyone can figure out how to survive, but like figuring out how to thrive and how to sustain that and how to take risks while doing that, like not everybody has that skill. That's why not everybody is well off,
Yeah. I think some people also look at like one thing I've come to notice too is there's so many opportunities to have very quick growth or success or financial growth in your life, but like you really need to, one thing I noticed is the people who actually make it obsess over the actual process of doing it. Or other people obsess over the result. Like for example, one thing I know about like when I used to do like a good amount of crypto trading, when I was doing really good, I was studying the markets. I was only putting my money where I knew it would be good. I've lost thousands of dollars probably over the past few months just on fucking stupid meme coins. Like I can't even tell you the names of some of them because I'll probably get, but like, I just throw money at things. I'm like, oh, let's see how that works. And I'm like, oh no, because I'm not actually studying the market. I'm not actually doing it, but the business is always something that's sustainable, that's always growing and thriving. It's because I'm focused on the process of it, not just the outcome. And like, it's almost a reminder to myself every time I lose money, just trying out a new opportunity that's kind of stupid on the side is because it's like, hey, it's just a reminder that like I have friends who make $700K a month trading crypto. Right. And just like do an insane amount of money, do an insane job at it because they've literally spent the past like 5-10 years just studying the market, studying the strategies, studying the techniques, where most people like they just throw money out and they go, oh, see, it didn't work. It's like you really got to pick that one thing and just obsess over it, whether it's like high ticket sales, whatever it is. But some people I feel like look at high ticket sales as like this quick pump and dump kind of opportunity where you'll go and pump and dump offers, but you're going to make pump and dump money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like one of my biggest recommendations to anyone watching this is like keep, the worst thing that you can do is like jump from one thing over here to one thing over here. Like if you make like a lateral or like a semi diagonal jump, like up, like you're using some of what you've done to do the next thing. It's a little bit more reasonable. But when you're just jumping from like crypto, e-commerce, TikTok, UGC, high ticket sales, like I did that for a long time and I didn't do shit for a long time. Like I started doing that in 2017. I didn't really figure it out until I had to see through my college degree. I got an internship, which led to sales. And then I was stuck. I say stuck, but like I stuck in this roofing company for long enough to know that I'm decent at sales. And that's what gave me the confidence to see through high ticket sales. Because if I would have found high ticket sales or like pursued high ticket sales in, let's say 2019, it probably would have just been another thing that I started and stopped.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. I mean, like, cause I've launched clothing or apparel companies. I've, worked on like some startups in college. I did door to door. I was running door to door sales teams. I was a Twitch streamer for a while. Like I've done like, like that one. Guess what I was playing?
I don't know, dude.
I'm not going to tell you, but I want you to guess, and I'm not going to say whether it was right or wrong.
You were playing a shooter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was, you've told me before. I'm just not a nerd like that, so I don't.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm giving you an opportunity to straight clown me right now if you want to, and I wasn't gonna.
Was it I don't know. Is it?
You're actually trying to guess. I was giving you an opportunity to clown me in front of our guests.
Roblox? I don't.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I feel like most people like that's when like the thing is when things got hard, I didn't just drive into it and try to figure it out. I pivoted like aggressively. And that's the one thing you said in the beginning before we even started the podcast. Like when every once in a while, you actually say something that's kind of smart. And this was maybe one of those things, but you said that, that like it's the big thing that most people have to figure out is how to figure it out.
Oh, right? That was before the podcast. We should have got that.
Yeah, and I think Tony got it on his camera.
Cool.
Well,
go watch my video. Link.
Yeah, I'm just gonna link some goofy ass video.
That's the main thing. Like the people who know how to figure it out are going to win, and those who don't know how to figure it out or don't care enough to learn how to figure it out will not win. Like put all your natural skill set and ability and interest aside. Can you problem solve? Are you interested in solving the problem? Do it, because the result that you want is on the other side of problems. Like that's literally it. Like you can reverse engineer it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people too is they come up with the perfect business model, and the second they get hung up in anything, they're just like, yeah, it doesn't work. And it's like, and they'll also look at people who've already cracked the business model, have done it successfully, and they still have the thought process of like, yeah, I guess it just doesn't work then because I didn't do it. It's like every single person who's made it, like, and it's actually, I'd be more scared to be the person who somehow made it without actually understanding how I made it than the person who went through all the trials, because the trials actually show you like that person who's at the top, the second one thing collapses, even if it's a small issue, all the infrastructure collapses because they have no idea how to solve it.
Well, that kind of like humbled me when getting into further into entrepreneurship, was realizing that all of these businesses, including the ones that I failed, they all work, and they all work at a really high level. And the only reason they didn't work is because I didn't see it through.
Yeah.
Like every single problem that I had been faced by someone else before. I just didn't care enough, or I didn't have the resources or the drive to figure it out.
Or the resourcefulness.
I didn't have that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a black pill for you, if you will,
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, that's so key. I mean, I remember, again, like everything that ever failed, easily looking back, I'm like, they all could have been a success. Like the apparel company, the startups I had in college.
Not that one.
You don't like the Club Bet and Snack t-shirts. It's funny too, because there's people to this day, like I'll still run into, and they're wearing the shirts, and they're like, "Dude, this is like my favorite shirt ever," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
But no, but it's just literally because I didn't see it through. We're like the second we had a challenge with our social media posting, and like one of the we weren't as consistent on organic content as we needed to be. Instead of just like me just taking it over. That's the thing about business owners, dude. It's like they're just infinitely willing to be resourceful, and it's like the second something happens, it's like, for example, like we had anytime we have like a setter or somebody make any sort of complaint of like, oh, like I feel like I'm, the dials are harder, or the dialer is not working, and like, or I can't leave a voicemail on a dialer or something like that. It's like the business owner, I've literally seen my partners go in and literally hit that person's KPI in a fraction of the time, and just like hidden. It's like people think it's some sort of magic that they're able to do it. It's like, no, they just know what needs to get done, and they're just unemotional about it. Like, it's whatever needs to get done, you just get done. Like if I need to make 100 outbound messages, I hate doing outbound messages. I will do 100 outbound messages if I need to do it.
Yeah. This was also a black pill for me. I don't know if this was from Mosey, but someone had said, the big goal that you want is on the other side of a lot of like 5-minute tasks. So like if you have this huge problem in front of you, like most of these problems, when you sit down and think about the actual actions needed to make progress, take less than 5 minutes each. And so, you can break this into as many sub problems as you want, but like even the biggest problems, man, like you flip a couple levers, turn this setting on, send this email, whatever. And like, the biggest problem is solved, and now you're free to keep building your business or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, just like running, I think you said something about running like head on into hard situations. Yeah. And then being able to, prioritization is really important too. You gotta prioritize the problems.
The highest leverage task at hand. And sometimes it's not always the task that you think it is, or sometimes it's not the task that you think it is too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes taking that step back, especially to get out of the weeds, even if it's for like a 10-minute meditation to just look at the business at a high level, you'll actually find that you've been working to solve the wrong problems for longer than you should have. You've read into that.
Walking on the trail. I've solved so many problems in my business by getting off my computer and walking on the trail down here. It's crazy.
You walk or?
Walking or running. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't take your mobility scooter on the
no.
It's actually crazy. Dylan's the first person I've seen with four-wheel drive tires on his mobility scooter, all terrain.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool. Yeah, it
was like upsell.
He had like shock absorbers and everything. And
this guy's just loves lying. This whole podcast was a lie, by the way. Noah doesn't run a done-for-you marketing and sales business.
This Dylan actually does high ticket.
This whole channel actually, it's a sham. I'm just kidding.
Shut it down.
It's a sham. Shut it down.
Yeah, by the way, I'm just going to Photoshop because of sales on this right here.
Yeah, I'll get my editor on that.
Yeah. Speaking of him, he just disappeared on you. He just quit.
He had to go.
Yeah, Dylan's posse just straight up left him today. They showed up and then, yeah. But dude, I appreciate you taking time away from the serial sales minions to come out here and film. And if anything, again, if you want to plug anything last minute here, I know you already plugged because of sales. People probably aren't interested in that. So there's like literally anything else you want to talk about.
All right. If you want a 1099 remote sales job, link below. Go to my Instagram and I'll talk to you there. Or send me an email or something.
I'm gonna just post Jonathan's.
I can help you. We'll help you get a remote sales job, whether you have sales experience or not. And if you want to just be the most tapped in sales rep on your sales team and know stuff that other people don't because of sales, is the newsletter. Subscribe to that. Also hit me up on Instagram. I'll show you where it is. And
what's your Instagram for those? Because we're not posting it literally anywhere.
Serial sales at serial, like serial killer sales. That's 2 S's at the end.
That's great branding right there.
Yep.
Yeah. If you want to be,
you know what that means? It means we make a lot of sales.
Yeah,
repetitive sales. So
you just kill sales. Yeah.
Yeah, we just kill it for our sales team. So
there we go.
There's a lot of meanings behind that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Serial killer.
So yeah, shoot me a message. I'll talk to anyone.
Sounds good. Let's end this with a friendship bracelet dab. You ready for that? Bring it in, brother. Thank you. That was a weak ass dab. All right. Thank you, Dylan, for being on here. Again, if you want to check out some awesome more content for, if you're in the high ticket space, sales, closer, agency owner, whatever it is, we have a lot of awesome content around it. We bring on guys like this doofus right here to just yap with us for at least an hour or two and just provide you as much value as humanly possible. If you're also interested in done-for-you marketing and sales support, Dylan unfortunately exited, so we have the full market cap now. So if you want to, now if you're interested in done-for-you marketing sales services, you have a proven offer, hit us up as well too. So thank you again for watching this episode, and I hope you got some value. Peace.